if that goes live. There we go. Okay, so I got something going to um, YouTube.
What? Well, the second time, right now, it's looking like it wants me to try doing it again. And I'm just like, nah, let's just make it, see if the other one works before I go through all that again.
The Navy SEAL.
Nope. So let me try to send another one. You're live on YouTube. All right. So I'll try this again. Copy the stream URL. What's that? How did this just do? Okay. So maybe that's something. At least that's the newest one. And it says we can go live for up to 2 hours after the fact. So let's see. Um, yeah, something's changing. Oh, yeah, I can go live. So that's good. So this side is LinkedIn is ready to go live. Whenever that's ready. Yeah, we have a whole bunch of prep to do. I don't know where I'm hearing myself talk from. I'm hearing the stream. Probably. All right. Maybe from LinkedIn.
Udicci.TV is live. Udicci.TV checking 1, 2, 3. Checking for a good stream. Check.
Brother, wake up.
Fellow humans, we ask, can we together deliver peace and healing to heart and mind?
Ulysses reheard the words being replayed.
What are you? Oh, wait, now we're all messed up again. Well, Udicci.TV is ready to roll, but somehow I'm still hearing brother play. Anyways, we're picking right up where we left off last year. It is time for another season, and this year it is time to scoot. Time to reconnect with old friends and introduce new friends. Time to recommit to worthy goals and work toward worthy results. Time to pick up and time to win. It's time to scoot. Hi, I'm Chuck, the co-op brand builder, and welcome to Udicci.TV. This year on Thursday Night Social, we are still talking marketplace well-being and continuing to connect with emerging brands, staking a claim in the wild west of technology and exploring economic theories for human good. Hi, I'm Chuck, the co-op brand builder, host of Thursday Night Social, and now back to Tim.
Well, hello. Hey, that was actually a pretty seamless opening after what? How long are we behind? 20 minutes? That roller coaster of production that we seem to go through. So
Okay, I'm having a little bit of a problem here. Still working on something. Somehow that whole time LinkedIn was still playing, and all I could hear was LinkedIn in the background.
Oh, no.
And I don't know what that means. But welcome to anybody who is listening. Hopefully you made that through better than I did. Tim said it was a seamless transition. And right now, about the only thing going on is Tim doesn't have enough light in front of him, and I somehow have a black box.
Well, we got to figure out that whole green screen thing still. We're still working through, we've got one thing, we get the audio figured out, then we screw up the green screen, and then, then tonight my camera won't come in. It's like, what the heck is going on? So, yeah, seems like a
all good.
All good. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to keep working through all of these technology issues and including not getting started on time, which is kind of funny because a lot of conversation tonight is around time and respecting each other's time. So tonight, depending on how the night goes, we may have a guest joining us in 5 minutes, at which point this whole first segment's just going to go away very quickly. But the first segment tonight is really about talking about who can you serve and how can you serve them? And a really important question is, why do you think they might want your help? Right? That's an important piece that we're going to. And then the second segment, we have a whole Udicci thing. We're going to be setting up the future, and that's kind of a fun, you just want to tune in for that one. All right. So to kick off tonight, just to kind of get us going, and I think we'll just, not bother with going to break here. And instead, I don't know, like if you have that video ready to play, or if you want me to play it from here. Actually, how do you want to do that?
Yeah, hold on a minute. Give me 1 second. You want to just give me some filler here for just a second, and let me grab my glasses.
Filler. This is what I do well. I do filler, and as Tim is figuring this out, if anybody happens to be right now, as I look right now, it doesn't say that we have any people watching, but there was 2 people watching earlier. And if you would just comment, share, talk to people. You don't even know what we're doing here. That's okay. You ready with the?
Almost. I gotta find the window. I got the wrong thing going there, Chuck. I actually had another video. Bear with me 1 second.
I have to tell you, without you having on like light in front of you, and when you're looking down, your headphones have this kind of cool green glow behind them that almost looks like the light above your head is working, but you're off in front of it a little bit. So that's kind of fun.
So yes, I have that video. Do you want to? I can switch over.
Yeah, go ahead and run that. Yeah, gonna run that to full screen. Or do you want to have some fun? Do you want to pull up the other one where we have our we have a background for video to play video, so that we can stay there.
Let's not worry about that right now. Let's just get in and play it, because there's a few challenges within this that we're just better off letting it go. So I'm gonna fade in and hopefully play it here, and I've got to switch between windows. Bear with me.
The Navy SEALs are one of the highest performing organizations on the planet.
Can you hear it?
And a former Navy SEAL was asked, who makes it through BUDS? Who makes it through the selection process to become a SEAL? And he said, I can't tell you who gets through, who makes it, but I can tell you the kind of people who don't make it. He said the star college athletes that never have been really tested to the core of their being, none of them make it. Preening leaders who like to delegate everything, none of them make it through. He said the big tough guys that come in with huge muscles, covered in tattoos, who want to prove to everyone how tough they are, none of them make it through. He said some of the guys that make it through are skinny and scrawny. He said some of the guys who make it through, you will see them shivering out of fear. He said, but every single one of them who makes it through, when they're emotionally exhausted, when they're physically exhausted, some way, somehow, they're able to dig down deep inside themselves to find the energy to help the person next to them. Service. Service. Giving to another, having their back, is what makes the highest performing teams in the world. Not their strength and not their intelligence. It's their willingness to be there for each other.
And we're back.
All right. And we're back.
Yep.
So it's a really good video. Just kind of kick off tonight, and just let me know if not who comes in. We'll just pivot based on how that goes. But I figure we'll just kind of continue down there.
Okay.
But as we always talk about, like trying to start off each week with an encouraging story, I kind of wanted to share that what drove this today is the opportunity to serve. Is I had an opportunity with my job to kind of make a very honest, real statement, like, we are here to support small business growth. What kind of help do you need? Name it, get it done. And I had to have this, I had this really moment of gratitude, because I was like, I have a brand that I can say that and they will stand behind it. And I think that that's like an important piece. And in those instances, we know that there is a lot of small businesses right now who are challenged. I mean, the economic conditions are challenging. There's a lot of uncertainty in employment. We hear about this quiet quitting that's going on right now. So there's a lot of challenges, and as opposed to reaching out to people to try to sell them something, how do you decide who you can actually serve? And it might be that they choose to buy something, but is it possible that you can serve them without them buying it? And really, what kind of makes you think that they need your help? And even more than that, how do we reach out to people and sincerely offer help and kind of say, like, yeah, I mean, there might be some financial transaction and benefit to all of this. And is that a problem? Like, no, because that's kind of what we do in the marketplace.
Right.
So that's kind of what tonight's just setting up this first kind of conversation goes with. So, Tim and I have been talking about this idea of opportunity to serve as we've been building out the relationship management aspects of the system. As I just don't, I sometimes struggle with words like target market. I mean, I understand it and it makes sense, but it's really who are the people we can serve and why. And we've been going back and forth as to, like, as opposed to saying, what can I sell them? And we've been going, how can we serve them? So I'm kind of using this term of opportunity to serve, and that's what tonight's topic is about. So Tim, like, how do you think that you actually find people to serve? I mean, because you need to do that, right? And that's kind of what, like, Simon was just saying. There's, like, we need to find people to serve. We need to help, like, 20,000 people hit their goals, that kind of thing. But how do you find people to serve?
So, it's really interesting that you bring this up because, there's not only a desire to want to serve people, there's also a desire to for those people to want to be served. Not everybody is in that position to want to be served, or not everybody wants to be served in some way. Or they might want to be served a specific way in which I may not be able to help, or we may not be able to help. So I think that there's a challenge in trying to find the right relationship and that connectivity to be able to identify somebody that really truly wants to help, wants to be able to get obtain help. So and I've got a good example is Nikki is a perfect example. She is, I've worked with her for years upon years. You've worked with her for a long time, and there's a desire that she has to want to grow her business and understands the necessity of building her culture and her brand, and then understanding how that all plays into creating technology that supports her business. So that, to me, I think that identifying a person who somebody to help. I think everybody wants to be helped, but I think identifying that right relationship and where we can provide value is important.
So I think that speaks to, right? I mean, because we're really ultimately sort of talking about sales here, is we're reaching out and we're saying, hey, we can help you. And to what degree that looks like, maybe now like the situation I'm in is I don't necessarily have to get paid by people to serve them. In fact, we have budgets to serve just to kind of help, right? That's sort of when we're trying to build and prosper communities. Sometimes you just have to be able to serve without compensation.
Right.
And, that's an important piece, but there's also a understanding that you have to feed yourself. So there's some balance that, goes on in that aspect. But so, like, how would you go about identifying the people that, you think you could serve? I mean, what would that look like?
For me particularly, I think it's it depends, because there are so many different areas that I believe I can help. There's efficiency, I think, probably is the one thing that kind of comes top of mind. So if there's a small business that really wants to, is really looking to try to find bottom line profits and find better organization and better processes and better ways to do things to save their employees stress and time and money, ultimately saving the company money. I think those are the types of companies that, from a business perspective, those are the types of companies that I feel like I can serve best. So, and then obviously from technology.
So it starts to speak to like finding language that you can agree on. I know, like for Inspirities, one of the things we talk about is working with clients that have a getting better agenda, right? Like we can kind of wrap our head around what that means. So, everybody's going to choose a little bit different language to kind of say like, this is the type of person that we can help, or this is the type of business, that we can help. And then it comes to the questions like, okay, you've talked about a number of things. We've talked about obviously like the financial aspect of it and the technology that supports it and the processes. And I do hope that now who jumps on here, because 2 days ago we had a conversation about, the people in the process and how you can have incredibly defined, highly efficient, like ready to run machine with just, ready to go, high power. But it's kind of like if you forgot to put the oil in the car, and that oil, that tiny little thin layer that stays between all the gears that keeps the machine running at the high velocity, high performance. Without that, the thing seizes up. And that's sort of what's interesting is it's almost like the human essence is like the oil in the machine.
Right.
And if we can't really capture the human essence of the challenge, all we keep doing is perpetuating some sort of systemic currency value. Let's say they're like it's like we have sort of missed people in the system.
Right.
There's a lot of talk around it, and we're starting to see the people are acting upon it. This is the quiet quitting stuff. And it's starting to say like people are valuing their life, and you'll hear people say, as opposed to a work-life balance, it'll be a life-work balance. And you'll hear people talking about intentionally making the change between, which is leading. Is it work and life or life and work? And I think that we have to get onto that life and work mentality that is, prosperous and able to sustain not just yourself, but many others. Because if we are to serve others, we somehow have to be able to sustain that service.
Well, and if we're going to serve others, the other the other thing that we got to be able to recognize is that when we service others, what is the intent behind it? Is it for hope and for profit? Is it for profit? Is it for the good of people? The intent and the heart behind it. You talked about marketing. I was in a meeting today with a pretty large company that's bringing in a service to the organization I'm with and working with, and they started talking about all the marketing things that they're going to be doing with this new program, and I started thinking that you're talking tens of thousands of people that they're getting access into, which they already sort of have access to them, but in the same vein, they were just talking about them like a market. They weren't talking about them like individuals who had specific desires or needs or
well, and that's it. And so in some capacity, that's the problem.
Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, years ago, we started moving into like account-based marketing, which is like where we started working toward a business. Then we're working toward the business and we're reaching out to the people. So we're trying to bring that in there. But very much, I mean, once we start getting into measuring, psychoanalytics, sociology, all those other pieces that go to this, right, it does start to become very calculating.
Yes.
And we have to be cautious on that. But again, okay, because we don't necessarily know the intent. And it's not up to us, the person who is trying to serve, to be so concerned about, if you will, the motive, because if our motive is correct, then that's sufficient kind of thing.
But the other thing here too,
but
I want to add one more thing here. One other piece that I want to bring in is think about it from an education standpoint. If we're looking at presenting a message in a way that somebody would want to be able to hear it or would be able to understand and hear it, when we're talking about presenting that message, that's the same thing as what we're talking about with marketing. So in a lot of ways, education is sort of marketing a certain philosophy or certain beliefs into a person's mind. So
well, okay, that's okay. That's the entire academic system.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. I mean,
yes.
when we start to acknowledge what's really going on, is that like once we have certain orders of things, right? I mean, not that everything, not that wrong or right, no sort of judgment here, but we could just say the scientific method. It's a repeatable process, and it's a systemic belief that is, if you have this kind of knowledge, well, that's good for society, and it is.
Yes.
But that same thing exists everywhere.
Yes.
It exists in
Yes.
your in the corporations you work for. We intentionally design cultures, right? And it exists in your community. It's all there, and
it's existed for years. It's not like this is something new that we're seeing because of technology. This is something that we're seeing throughout humankind. So it's an evolution of the way we're implementing those beliefs and those systems.
So maybe in the coming weeks we'll do a thing on complex versus complicated systems, and it's really interesting when you start to bring in technology, like as technology solves complicated scenarios and miserably fails the complex systems it's supposed to serve.
Yep.
Now we start talking farming and impact of technology and some stuff like that. Yep. So let's kind of come back to that. So now who's not here yet, and what I think is like we could take a break. When we come back, let's just kind of talk about like how do we show that we care, and then depending on what time looks like after that conversation, maybe we'll just wrap it up or take that next step that we were going to do with Nahu, and maybe we'll plan next week's agenda just to kind of model what we think is successful behavior.
Okay.
So with that, I will be right back. And Tim, feel free to do whatever you would like to do.
We're going to break. That's what we're doing.
Okay. Are we back from break?
We are. We are back from break. Oh, what happened to you? There you are. Okay. We lost you for a second.
Nothing.
All right. Is that
Hey.
better? Is that better on my light? Oh, hey. Oh. Hold on. Oh,
How's this?
hold on. Not see you caught me off guard here. Filters. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I gotta go in. I gotta edit that. Yeah. Gotta go green. Gotta turn that on. There we go. Hey, that's better.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way
Okay,
we
this is
want
fun.
it.
So I'm gonna just leave it there for a second, okay? So I'm going to I'm going to create another version of that, and so here. Okay.
I pulled one of my lights back a little bit. Hopefully that helps a little bit with the lighting on me. It still kind of looks like I've got maybe a fin thing going.
Yeah, you've got to get something much more in front of you. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, hold on one second. You want to
Okay.
fill? I'll go do that. I can put something in front of me or do not
You
care.
ready? You ready? Watch this one.
All
Let's
right.
see how this looks. Does this look at all like anything? So wait.
Wait, what are you doing?
I changed my thing, but
It's not coming. Oh, are you on a upstream thing?
well, let's try this. Interesting. It must be completely washing out my co-brand builder. At
Oh,
which point
the
I could
green
probably
screen stuff. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Just keep going. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep playing with this for a second while we're. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So how'd you get? Oh, okay, right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
don't worry. I'll just keep kind of doing my own thing.
Yeah.
And just give me a second to have some fun here. And I'm thinking that there has to be have to be able to put like some sort of just a box behind it or something. Maybe not.
Yes, there
There.
is. Yes, there is. You can
Where?
just do a color. Add a color. Add a.
Oh, and just do that small.
Yeah.
Do the same thing. Okay, that's how I
just a
did the
square.
color. That's how I got
Yeah.
the green screen.
Yeah.
Right, just use that same idea.
Oh yeah, same
but
idea.
I'm going to make it
black or something like that. Yep.
Right.
Live production.
so-
We're getting better. Even though we were a half hour late, we're getting better. We're gonna figure this thing out, darn it.
It may take us 5 years, but we will get there.
Yeah, we will truck our way all the way through it.
All right, let's see here. This is gonna have to go here.
That's one thing
Here.
that Chuck and I have done well together in our career is no matter the challenge, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we can do it. We'll just truck our way through it. We'll figure it out along the way. That's been we've done a few things like that in our life.
Okay, now this could be fun. We'll see how
All right. Oh,
weird this
hey,
starts to look.
Oh,
Hey, that's not actually bad. That's kind of
Looks like it's
fun.
a painting
That's
on the
almost
wall.
like it's on the wall, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I could play with that. That's kind of fun. Not bad. Not bad.
yeah.
Not great. You can't really read it so well, but okay, that's fun.
Yeah, but when I
See
go
if I
full
can,
screen, yeah, that's true. You can't really read it that well. You gotta have to make it a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Make the text a little bit bigger. See, I need something in front of and behind me now. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, you're gonna have to kind of do something.
Oh, look at that! I actually, if I back up, yeah, I need to move these lights back. Is what I need to do.
What's going on here?
Here comes Gadget again.
Okay. Not great. Not bad. Whatever.
It works for now.
Kind of funny.
It
Yeah,
works
like
for now.
okay, I gotta figure out so this should be Oh, it's interesting. Like, I sort of need to.
You probably need to make the font a little bit bigger.
Yeah, it's not it's not quite right. So it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll leave it right where it is. Be
Hey.
happy with it all and go with it this way. That's kind of fun. It's fun. It's different. And I could probably just move it down to the bottom where my shirt is, and it would look like a galley. And maybe that's what we'll work on in some sort of like lower thirds. But
Hey, hold on
and
one second.
certainly I'm not underneath my light now.
Okay, I'm gonna move back just a touch. All right, there.
All right. I think I'm
That's
gonna kind
better.
of come over here, maybe toward the light a little bit more.
There. Oh no!
Ooh, but then
don't
you're
go
way
towards the
far
light.
back, and we're hold on. Then we're gonna have to kind of like shrink me up a little bit,
I'm just trying to get the
and
light
that's
right.
fine. Yeah, I gotcha.
There we go.
All right, whatever. Okay, so we're fun with that. Okay, riveting
Live
content.
production.
I know.
Hey, listen, we're refining.
Riveting.
Wait till we get it right. Just wait. It's gonna be unbelievable.
It might be 2032,
No,
but hey, at least I'm in front. Hey, is that correct?
20.
I mean, and at least it is correct because I'm in front of it, which makes it kind of fun.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So that's good. Yeah, that actually works out pretty well. Yeah, so I might actually be able to make like a really cool like background for that. And
if you make a background for it, send it to me as well. What I'll do is I'll add my own. So that'll
you've got to come up with like, and that's the thing. Like we've talked about this is like, what's your brand? What are you trying to do? Right?
Oh, you want me to come up with my own? Okay, fine. You're the graphics guy.
No, I can design it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I can design it. I just don't know, what, we've talked about like Maverick is your brand. I mean, to me, I'm the co-op brand builder now, right? Like that's just my personal brand.
Right.
And, so like, I don't know what you want your personal brand to be yet. We've talked about that, but we've not really spent a lot of time on it. But yeah, I'm happy to make anything. And, we could just do some sort of like, like Mr. It, like Udicci It, like I mean, like we could do something fun. We could probably all sorts of things. So we'll take a second. What would that look like to you? So we're supposed to be caring and serving one another. Let's talk about your personal brand. I mean, we're talking about you wanting to serve, and obviously technology is a big piece of it. And obviously, like you look at like my design, and it's really still Udicci informed design, inspired design, right? It's the line, that kind of stuff. It's all relevant. So what kind of let's talk about you.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the orange dot, the orange color for the heart that goes behind it, and that's the reminder that it always comes from the heart of Christ. So that orange, I think that kind of starts to build out where we go from there. I think another piece of it is the I'm really digging the blues. I like the orange with the blue. So from a feel, like when I start to think about it from a color scheme feel, like I want that type of the blues and oranges, and I want it to have a feel of modern, but also a feeling to give inspire a feeling of confidence through like a technical feel.
But what do you? I mean, do you just want to use like Tim? I mean, just use your name with some design around it. I mean, that's a starting point.
Well,
right? And then, or do you have like another?
Ironically, I actually I this past week I was going through doing all the domain cleanup and stuff like that for SSL, and I noticed that I had lost my original timmaslin.com, and so I went out and I'm like, well, let me just do timmaslin.me so that it can point to my Udicci.me account. So I went and set up timmaslin.me, and so if in a lot of ways, I guess, if I'm going to brand something or head down a brand, if it's not Udicci and it's going to be about me personally, then it should be my name, Tim Maslin. And there's really no, there's really no other way to go around it. I could do something with Larry, but Larry could be like another side of the brand that we talked about, like the behind.
Yeah, Larry can certainly go someplace else and fit really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that definitely could go.
But yeah,
I
think for me, that's really kind of the emphasis is it's not about me, but it's about the things that I can offer and about what I can bring and how I want to help and why I want to help and what is the intent behind it, and why have we been cursed with this desire to want to pursue entrepreneurship for the good of community and the sake of others, and the good of humanity over welfare, good of I can't even say it.
Can't even say it anymore. I can't even I know I'm on a mission. I just forgot what my mission was. All right, I'm gonna go back to trying to. I'm just still trying to fix
I'm watching
the
you play.
all right, so yeah, I'll mess with something. Well, it's funny because in my head it shouldn't be changing because I haven't put it over to the live one, but somehow the two are connected.
It's because you're seen within scene.
All right, so I'll work on something with your name.
All right.
And I guess just for the fun of it, I mean, should we be thinking about something more like this? I don't think so. This kind of looks weird.
Oh.
See, it's not changing now, but it should be changing because it was before. So I don't really know what I'm saying right now. I'll have a little bit of fun with this because this is obviously not correct. But all right, how's that?
There you go. Hey, it's Chuck's up on the bar.
Yeah. Right, it's kind of going in that direction, right? I don't know.
Well,
I think for now I just kind of like it. Huh?
There's in Prism. There's they have that stuff built in with the overlay stuff where you can do the lower thirds, and you can actually put that in pretty easy through Prism.
I would think so.
Yeah,
I just haven't done those pieces yet.
Downstream stuff. I downloaded the OBS downstream plugin, so I just haven't gotten a chance to mess around with it and play with it. I might try to do that before next week.
Okay, now I've just made a complete mess of myself over here. I don't know what's going on, and I want to get back to our other conversation, but now I'm all messed up. Yeah, 15,000 times at this point. A little bit of filler as I'm doing this. So Craig Wright is in another big lawsuit, and this one seems like it could have some serious implications. Yeah, we'll see. It's all interesting stuff.
The what's
all right, now this looks like, huh?
Craig Wright is?
So Craig Wright is, yeah. So there was a guy, Hoddlenot, out on LinkedIn that basically, 1,000 other people, said that Craig Wright was a fraud, and Craig sued him, and that's now in court. And basically, through this, they've said that, the judge clearly says it's this court case is not to decide if Craig Wright is Satoshi Nakamoto, but it will play heavily into sort of the decision. Right. So that's kind of an interesting kind of way of saying something, I guess.
Sure.
So that's kind of going on right now. All right. So it took me a while to get. Oh, wait. Why is this saying we're on a short break?
What?
Oh, okay. Wow. I'm way behind over on LinkedIn. All right. Let's kind of refresh that one and see how that's going. It seems like LinkedIn keeps getting step behind.
Yeah, what have you followed? Because I'm curious. Have you followed any of the stuff with the Ethereum? What happened with the Ethereum or something just happened with it recently?
The Ethereum merge.
That's
okay.
It. Yep.
So yeah, the Ethereum merge is kind of interesting. It's basically moving Ethereum over to proof of stake, and and it's interesting. Okay. Going to proof of stake basically allows for oligarchical control inevitably, and effectively becomes yet another version of a central bank under a different name. So it's very interesting, like that's where the merge is going to a proof of stake. And what that does will, in theory, reduce the cost of transactions on Ethereum, but they still have to compete against a BSV and say, what are you able to, other than network effect, and nobody's saying that that's, to be, to be ignored. That's pretty significant. But do we have the same types of capabilities and greater on a proof of work network? And if we do, then what do we even care about a proof of stake? So but anyways, I know there's a lot of people who disagree with me. There's a lot of people in the world who are wrong, and we're trying to go from that idea. No, it's definitely interesting. I don't know where it goes from here. I do find the timing interesting. I think the stuff that's coming out, for Craig Wright, I think that this court case, the last one he won technically, but only $1. So it's kind of like, yeah, maybe by the letter of the law you won, but by the spirit you didn't. And we'll see what happens on this next one.
Yeah.
So hey, let's just jump back though to a second. Is how do we show people we care, right?
Okay.
When it comes down to it, like particularly we're talking about in a professional sense at this point. How do we really show people that we care?
Wow. Our actions. I think that our actions speak louder than words. A lot of times you have a lot of people that are just they have a lot of talk, and you'll see a very. I think it depends on where you're at. Some places you're going to see more. You can see more people getting involved, whereas other areas like a church, obviously you're going to probably see more people tend to get involved in from a church perspective than other areas. But I think that's probably a big part of it. But how you treat them, I think, is really important. So I've been doing fill-ins for my contract, and some of the people I've had to interact with, a lot of the quote unquote customers of our department, and that's other employees of this organization, and sometimes people are very unfriendly. So hold on one second.
There's a lot of that comes. So that comes back. There's a lot of stress right now.
Yes, a ton of it, and it's coming back on everyone. And another piece, like we got one of our customers, our customers, one of their employees is so stressed out and is so afraid of change that it's actually hindering that person from being able to move forward into a less stressed environment. And if we can lessen the stress on one side, we should be able to lessen the stress that comes across when that particular employee is on a phone with another customer, or representing the business. Yes, you would think. But
so one of the interesting kind of dynamics in the world right now are the very clear emergence of very different ideologies. And, a lot of people could kind of, I'll say you could kind of put it into two camps. You'll hear the word statist. Those are people who really just look at the organizational capacity of humans to put governance upon one another for the greater good, as the claim goes. And others which sort of say, nah, personal liberty is given to us by something greater than humans, right? And whatever that may look like. And those two ideologies, while they can be, if ignored or whatever, you can copacetically exist because they both have a place together. But they do provide a very different, ultimately, economic difference in the world. And I say this because I'm reading the Human Choice book, which is sort of a updated summary of Ludwig von Mises's human behavior book, his treatise on human behavior. And he talked about the philosophies that, like, say, Marxism came from. And it's very interesting that at the economic heart of these ideologies it's almost so different that it prohibits the completion of a transaction. Let's just say it that way, right? That you can't have both sides of the transaction be equal.
Right.
So it's an interesting thing that when we're sitting here thinking, we can solve somebody's stress, and if they would only understand X, Y, and Z, which I would say, 100%, that's really, really good. There are people that just that suggestion itself is their stressor.
Yes, absolutely true.
And it's very, very okay, now how do we work through this as humans caring for one another very intentionally? And so what I was trying to get to also was some specific examples, and let me kind of say things like respecting of time.
Right.
Like, how do we show people that we care about them is we respect their time, and we respect if something's supposed to begin at X and end at Y, we do that. And we also respect it with the idea that we try to not linger, right? To say that is we are actually very intentional to say, hey, if I can get something done in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, then I'm going to do that. If I can have this conversation, if I can be in your mind space, if I can share your mind space with you for less time, more often than more time, I'm sort of showing you my value of your mind space. And then that opens the opportunity for you to invite me in for more kind of thing. But respecting of time, I think, is a great way that we can show people that we care. Not just thinking that, they have an infinite amount of time because we feel that we have an infinite amount of time, which, we do. In God, we have an infinite amount of it, but you get the idea there. And another example that I had, and then, as I'm talking through these, you can think about some of yours, but deliver as agreed. And I guess I would even say with that is follow up frequently. And what I mean is, as we're talking about getting into agendas, meetings, clearly defined goals tasks that we're working on, it's delivered as agreed. And we can allow for room for clarity and clarification and life, but respect time and delivered as agreed. Those are those types of things that say, okay, I'm not just sort of taking up more of your time in this life, because for many people, it's one of the major stresses is they already feel like they don't have enough time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That resource of time is just that thing which is so precious, is that somehow we need to make sure that we carry that preciousness with them in such a respectful way that they're okay.
And I think I agree with you in a lot of that aspects of it. And one of the things that I think that we have to allow for is kind of what was it called, the polychronic. Yeah, so being able to have a little bit more flexibility and knowing that sometimes things happen, and sometimes we have to be a little bit flexible depending on a computer might fail, or a camera doesn't connect, or audio problems, or going further out is if you're trying to attend a meeting and you got tied up in another meeting, or you got tied up on another call, or there's so many things that happen throughout a day, right?
So first, we've been recently sort of joking around about the idea that how many of our phone calls now begin with something like, "Hold on, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hold on, let me connect." Right? It's as Nahu was saying the other day, we're back to whoever that was, T-Mobile or whoever that was. Can you hear me now? Or Sprint, can you hear me now? Yeah. We're back to Alexander Graham Bell, hey, can you hear me? So technology, fine. But again, even that.
Yeah.
If I'm constantly showing up either to offer help or to receive help, and I'm often showing up in the same state of being that prohibits receiving help, that's kind of, we need to be cautious on. I think I heard somebody say it the other day, allowing extenuating circumstances, in other words, excuses, to be the reason that we are allowing ourselves to not serve or be served.
Right.
in a way that's actually respectful of all involved.
Yeah. You take it back to a personal experience. We were a couple weeks ago. We were on our way to the to a family reunion. We were running late. Everything was just all discombobulated. It was a hectic morning. Everything was happening, and we had to stop at Tops and pick something up. And going through line, and get up there, and person in front of us checks out, gets through the line, and all of a sudden they can't pay because all of the New York State computer systems are down for this thing. So now the whole thing just shifts from this hectic, everything's going, oh, we're late, blah blah blah, to
They're like,
here's a real life, but here's a real life situation that now you have to figure out how are you going to respond to, because there's this person who cannot pay for a very minimal amount of groceries that barely could feed her, but probably fed her for days. And and she was breaking down in tears, and all of a sudden everything became a more serious, like, you have to shift into the mood, and you have to turn into, like, okay, in the moment it's not convenient, and it's not necessarily it's like, oh man, I wasn't planning for this, but sometimes God's putting us in a position where he wants us to be able to help. And I was in a position to be able to help in that moment and make a difference, not only for that woman, but for many people around us that were there to witness the whole thing. So
it's interesting, like started reading a book, and on an earlier podcast today, the book was mentioned by Steve Helms, and it's called Unoffendable. And it's this whole idea that we ultimately, it really drives you to question whether we have any right at all to even be offended. And it gets really like, okay, and if you think you have a right to be offended, like, well, are you able to properly love in that moment if you're living in your offense? And it goes through breaking down all the righteous anger and all arguments and everything else. But the point of the book, which I think is very, very good, is seek to live a life where you are unoffendable. Because when you're unoffended, you are able to sort of, in that moment, because again, you were late that day, right? And it's like you pull up at a fast food restaurant and the payment system's not down, and you gotta be kidding me. It just makes the whole system worse. And, this was obviously even more impactful than just you not able to pick up your fries, but it's like, if you're not able to sort of enter into the moment with some sort of peace and calm, we miss the opportunity to serve in ways that, we didn't plan to serve, but God did.
Yeah, and I think that comes from a spirit of, the foundation of trying to remain calm in all situations and not be offended, and it's a constant choice. It's just like forgiveness. It's a constant choice that we must make to not be offended by something that somebody says. I mean, no matter how simple and meaningless or how direct and impactful, we can choose whether or not we want to like water off a duck's back. They always say, and there's a lot to that saying, but it's also, how much do you want to hang on to for your own learning and education? Because sometimes when you're hearing something like that, maybe that's a relationship that you need to find a more proper place for it.
Yeah. And so good stuff. Awesome stuff.
Sure.
All right. So I think we started roughly 15 minutes late or whatever it was. So we've run an hour, so we can kind of go with an hour.
We're 25 minutes late.
Okay. Well, then we'll close up, and we've got like 10 minutes to close up. So a couple things is I think that was like pretty good conversation, pretty good content tonight.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go back and watch the opener. You said that went smooth.
Yep.
I'm noticing though, we're still this is definitely the wrong background as I'm sitting here, because the bottom, technology, emerging brands, and the other thing is missing.
Yeah. I've got the right one.
That's
my bad.
That's
My
That one
bad.
got to change a bit. And is like I still kind of like this background. I think it's interesting. I don't think I'm going to go with. I do like more the idea of us maybe putting something along the bottom, like you say, a lower third, but not even a
Yeah,
lower third as much
almost.
as
What about like a light, a neon light type of effect up?
a
You know,
neon light. Where?
I don't know. I'm just looking at the potential things that we might be able to do. Um, Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to figure out where. I could have swore you. I know you sent that to me, and I know that I downloaded it. I may not have copied it. Oh, oh, you know what it was, Chuck? It's the wrong. I think that one was the wrong size. Hold on. Let me
And there we
check.
go.
Did
That's
it?
up.
It did?
Yeah, that was correct.
Okay.
Or at least it's
Wow.
definitely. I mean, it's got the thing on the bottom.
Yeah. Hold on. Oh, a little bit better. You need to spread the lights out a little bit.
What do you mean?
Otherwise, we're gonna be right on
Oh
top of
wait.
each
Oh
other.
yeah. So
So
what? Okay. So all right. Maybe I'll play with this a little bit more.
yeah, see if I go like that. I mean, we're all right. That's fine if you're okay with that.
I mean, yeah. I guess it all depends on how we want to set up the other stuff.
Yep. So, I wasn't able to record tonight, so we'll have to. I'll grab it off of YouTube, but outside of that, I think once we finally got everything fired up and going, we actually had a fairly decent stream. So, hopefully, we can continue this and start getting it more on time.
Yeah.
Maybe even make
Yeah.
some
Okay. I'm
strides
going.
on Udicci.TV. So, not worried about
All
it,
right.
but
Got a little more playing to do, and we'll go from there. I think we had two people join us on LinkedIn at some point in time. Now I got to
okay.
figure out LinkedIn. I think is like somewhat challenged in this. Oh, it says return to live, so it looks like it's already over. That's interesting.
Oh, so
So
did it
somehow
end
that one.
right at 1 hour?
Oh, I'll bet it did.
Oh, that's
Yeah. Well,
funny.
no, it says that you can. Hold on. Let's see here.
Huh.
That's
Please use
very
a
interesting.
keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Currently, keyframes are not being sent often enough, which can cause buffering.
Oh no, it was still running.
Oh, okay.
So all right. Well, good night, LinkedIn people. We'll be here again next Thursday night. Good
All
night.
right. Are we out? Are we out? Where
On LinkedIn.
oh, okay. Um.
And I'm just your broadcast is ending. Great. Okay. And all right, cool. I think that should end that one, anyways.
All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap up for.
LinkedIn is kind of weird. LinkedIn is definitely like wonky with the way that it deals with the stream.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Kind of weird.
go over here and wrap. Let's see.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. That was fun.